But you know what? We can learn our keywords.
Our first keyword is famous. Famous. When something is famous, that means that many people know about it.
For example, Melissa's friend has become a famous singer in England.
We can say Canada is famous for its cold winters. Our next keyword here is sightseeing. Sightseeing. When you go sightseeing, you visit famous places. If you're traveling, you might go sightseeing.
Now, if you had friends come visit you, where would you take them sightseeing? Think about it.
You know, it's always fun to go sightseeing. Wait a minute! We forgot to teach our calendar phrase.
Well, then let's teach it.
Okay, our calendar phrase is wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
All right, students, let's learn more from this conversation. Let's learn it in Chinese.
So we should choose one place.
Yes.
Okay. What do I want to see in Europe?
Paris is famous for great art museums.
London also has some great museums.
And we can speak English there. So how are we going to decide?
Why don't you look on the computer?
Good idea. Let's see which cities have things we really want to see.
Wow, they have a lot of choices. There are a lot of great cities in Europe. How are they going to decide? Well, they're going to look online.
Right. They're going to see which cities they would like to go to. So, Campbell, where would you want to go in Europe?
I think Paris would be nice, or Rome, or Athens, or Switzerland, or a lot of different places.
Yeah, I see, Campbell. Well, our friends are going to decide where they want to go. You know, I wonder where they'll go. For now, let's learn our keywords.
That's right. Our first keyword is art. Art. Art is beautiful things that someone has made.
Right, art. When you think of beautiful things that people make, that is art.
Now, when we think of art, we usually think of things like pictures, 照片, paintings or drawings, 图画.
But you know, music can also be art, or things that people write, like poems and plays. They are also art.
Well, they have some great art museums in Paris. Now let's learn this next keyword, museum. Museum. A museum is a building where you can go and look at important and interesting things. 博物馆.
Yeah, if you're interested in something like art, you can go to an art museum to learn more about art.
Well, do you like to go to museums? I wonder if Thomas likes to go to museums. Thomas, do you like to go to museums?
Keywords.
All right, friends, let's review our keywords about sightseeing in Europe. Our first word is travel. Travel. I don't want to stay home. I want to travel.
Sightseeing. Sightseeing. Maria went sightseeing when she visited New York City.
Famous. Famous. Los Angeles is a famous city. A lot of people know about it.
Art. Art. Cindy loves art. She likes looking at beautiful things that people have made.
Museum. Museum. There are lots of interesting things to see in museums.
Now let's say them together again. Travel. Travel.
Sightseeing. Sightseeing.
Famous. Famous.
Art. Art.
Museum. Museum.
All right, friends, now that you reviewed these key words, listen for them as we review what happened in today's conversations.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Mom's meeting me here for coffee. She says she has a surprise for me.
What do you think it is?
I don't know, but Mom says I'll like it. Hi, Mom. So, what's the surprise?
You can't wait, can you?
No.
Okay. We're going to take a trip to Europe.
Europe? I've always wanted to travel to Europe.
I know.
When are we going? Where are we going? How long can we stay?
We'll go during your Christmas vacation. We'll stay about a week.
But where will we go?
Dad says you and I can decide.
Wow. Let's go to Paris, Rome, London.
Wait a minute. We'll only have a week for sightseeing.
That's right. You can't see all the famous places in 1 week.
So we should choose one place.
Yes.
Okay. What do I want to see in Europe?
Paris is famous for great art museums.
London also has some great museums.
And we can speak English there. So how are we going to decide?
Why don't you look on the computer?
Good idea. Let's see which cities have things we really want to see.
Movie Minute.
Dear friend, I'm having a wonderful adventure here in Europe. Every place I visit amazes me. How I wish you were here. I spent my first week in Paris. I did a lot of sightseeing. My favorite site was the Louvre. I spent a day at this famous art museum. I saw the most famous painting there, the Mona Lisa. I went to the top of the Eiffel Tower on my last night in the city. I had a beautiful view of the city lights. Then I took a plane to London to meet an old college friend. She is a wonderful tour guide. There are lots of attractions here. I'm writing you this email from an internet cafe in the city. London is famous for Big Ben. It's a tower with a clock on it. It's very easy to get around this city. They call the subway the Tube. Each trip on the Tube is an adventure. England also has so many castles. I hope I get to see some of them. I love dreaming of living in one. The next place on my travel itinerary is Rome. I'm looking forward to eating a lot of delicious food in Italy. I just have to wait for my visa. I've always wanted to travel to Europe. It's a dream come true. Coming to Europe was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I hope you take a trip here too. Get your passport ready. Lots of love.
Calendar phrase.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
等一下。It's time for school, Billy.
Wait a minute.
But we're going to be late.
Wait a minute. I have to finish my breakfast.
Hurry up, Billy.
I said wait a minute. Okay, I'm done. Let's go now.
But I'm not ready yet. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
等一下。
Okay, we have a few more minutes before we go, so let's practice our question of the day. Where would you like to go in Europe? Why?
I'd like to go to Germany, 德国. I'd like to go to Germany because I have a lot of family there, and I'd like to visit them.
That sounds like fun. All right, friends, what about you? Where would you like to go? Practice this question, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on Let's Talk in English.
On PTS and the radio.
And remember, learning English can be fun. Bye.
He's begun. Let's talk in English.
Listeners, hi everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk in English on PTS and the radio. My name's Andrea.
Bonjour. I'm Campbell. The Gibsons are going to Europe.
And Campbell and I decided we're going to help Amber and Rita decide between London and Paris.
Yesterday we found out that Paris is famous for art museums.
Well, London has some great museums too. And in London, you can speak English.
But in Paris, you can speak French. And it's always a great challenge to learn a new language, even if it's just a few words.
Well, that's true, but London is a wonderful city in England. You know, I went there with some students once, and they all loved it.
Well, Paris has the Eiffel Tower, Eiffel Theater. You know, it's one of the most famous landmarks in the world.
Well, London has some famous castles. I'm sure Amber would like to see them.
But they don't have delicious French food in London now, do they? I don't think so.
Well, London has a very famous subway called the Tube.
Well, Paris has a subway too. It's very convenient to travel around in.
Campbell! Okay, you know, maybe we should just let Amber and Rita make the decision.
You're right, but I'm sure they'll choose to go to Paris.
You mean London. Here's today's mission. Why does Rita want to go to Paris?
Why does Rita want to go to Paris? Well, because Paris is the best choice. Okay, friends, let's start our day with Conversation A.
London. Paris.
There are so many places to go in Europe. Let's just choose 2 cities and decide between them.
That would be easier. We can each choose one. Where do you want to go?
Paris, I think.
Why?
I want to go to Paris to see the Louvre.
What about you, Amber?
I want to go to London. There are lots of attractions there.
London or Paris? Well, Rita wants to go to Paris.
And Amber wants to go to London to see the attractions there.
And we know that you want to learn that keyword. Attraction. Attraction. An attraction is something famous that people go to see.
An attraction. This is something that's interesting that people like to go and see.
If you're going sightseeing, you might stop at many different attractions.
In Taiwan, Taipei 101 is a famous attraction.
Now, in this noun, we see the verb attract. Now, to attract means that you're interested in something and you want to know more about it. So when you go see attractions, those are things that you're interested in and want to know more about.
Well, in our conversation, we hear of a famous attraction in Paris, the museum called the Louvre.
Yes, the Louvre is a famous attraction in Paris. It's an art museum, and you can find many different famous paintings there. You can find one of the most famous paintings in the world, the Mona Lisa.
Wow, what a beautiful painting. Hey, I think we found the answer to today's mission, didn't we?
We did. Why does Rita want to go to Paris?
Why does Rita want to go to Paris? Rita wants to go to Paris to see the Louvre.
Well, we'll see if they go to Paris or London. Let's learn more in Chinese.
Hi, Thomas.
So, you'll decide between Paris and London.
Right.
There are some cool castles in London.
I know.
Those would be fun to see.
So let's go to London.
But I would love to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris, too.
Which city is easier to get around?
Both cities have subways. That would be the best way to travel around.
What a tough decision. Paris or London? Well, I still think they should go to Paris.
Really? Why?
Well, like I said, Paris has the Eiffel Tower and good French food. And besides, Paris is called the City of Love. What could be better than that?
Well, that's true, but London has castles, Chungbao, and other famous attractions.
There's a lot to think about. One important thing to think about is how they're going to get around.
Now let's learn our keyword, get around.
Get around. Get around. When you get around someplace, this means you go from one place to another. If someone says, "How are we going to get around?" they mean, how are we going to go from place to place?
So when you're getting around, you're going from place to place.
Here in Taipei, I get around by taking taxis or the bus or the MRT, 捷运.
The MRT is a kind of subway. Now let's learn that keyword.
Subway. Subway. Now, most big cities have subways. A subway is a train that mostly travels underground and uses electricity, 电, to go.
If a city has a subway, it's usually a convenient way to get around.
And like we said, in Taipei, the subway is called the MRT, 捷运. Okay, friends, that's all for us. Let's go learn some more in Chinese from our good friend Thomas.
This isn't going to be an easy decision. Paris and London both have interesting attractions.
And delicious food. And cool stores.
And they're both expensive. You can't choose the cheaper place.
How are we going to decide?
Well, let's go home and talk to Dad.
Right. We'll just have to tell him.
Tell him what?
Tell him we need a longer vacation.
A longer vacation? What do you think Mr. Gibson will say? Well, we know that Amber and Rita are having a hard time making a decision.
Yes, it's not easy. Paris and London both have interesting attractions. A trip to Paris or London. You know, this is a fun decision to have to make.
You're right. Now let's learn our keyword here. Decision. Decision. A decision is what you choose after thinking about something.
Right, a decision. When you have a choice between two things and you choose one of them, well, then you just made a decision.
Amber and Rita have to make a decision between Paris and London.
I think they should decide to go to Paris. I think their decision should be to go to Paris.
Yeah, we heard the verb to decide. When you decide something, you are trying to make a decision. Now, another thing to think about when you're traveling is food.
Right. Everybody needs to eat. So food is a very important thing to think about.
Well, Amber says both Paris